Hey everybody, it's Wes Allen with DM Tales, and I just realized that my bumper music was muted because I was using it over on Moonbeam, and it's not licensed to be on anything but YouTube. So you got to see my logo without the cool sounds, and if you watch my channel, maybe you heard it. Anyway, it is the Monday after Easter, and it is also an auspicious day because it is the first day of registration for a really cool online event, and I got two of the folks who are responsible for it existing here, so I'm going to bring them onto stream right now. But I'm here with Phil and with Scott, but we just keep calling you, I keep calling you Scotty, but so it's with Phillip and Scott. You are both listed as crit GMs. And because I tried to give you titles and you were dead set against it. So great for being the proletariat. So what, I'm really excited because this is a cool event, and I'm actually getting to run a game for it this year. But I do want to just kind of talk about you guys in general, so folks can kind of get to know maybe you a little bit. I think we did this a little bit last year when we talked about it. We'll talk about the previous incarnation of Crit in a little bit. But for folks who are kind of new to all of this, I'll start with, well, I've talked with Phil more, so I'm going to talk with Scott first. Scott, how did you get into this unique hobby? And then we'll throw it over to Phil.
The hobby being role-playing games?
Role-playing
Generally?
games, yes.
Yeah, for sure. I was a babysitter of mine when I was a youngster. A friend of a friend's, the kid of a friend's family friend, was babysitting me, and he was way into role playing games, and he had all the red box, the original basic rules set for D&D, and that's how he babysat me. He killed time with me just playing D&D, goofing around. I don't remember any of the games, or we probably weren't following the rules anywhere close to reality, but
Okay.
we just had a lot of fun together. And I told my parents, man, I want more of that. And that was the beginning. Started playing role playing games in the late '80s, or I'm sorry, early '80s, with him, and it was off to the races from there on out. I've been every version of D&D, plus as many indie games as I can get my hands on. I don't have a huge local friend group to play with. We've
Okay.
all got lives and families, but yeah, I play online when I can, and it's been a great avenue for leveling up storytelling and escapism and creativity and getting to play in dynamic worlds, and it's just been great.
That's awesome. So, like, the babysitter corrupted you.
Yeah.
So you're like an 80s after school special.
Yes, sir.
I love everything about that story. That's just absolutely wonderful. How about you, Phil?
Well, if we're going back to early like childhood stuff, my first game wasn't necessarily a role playing game, and I don't have the copy of it anymore. But it was BattleTech, and it was the rules
Oh,
compendium for warfare.
uh-huh.
And I had no idea what any of that meant, and I read it, and I was like, I don't know what an autocannon is, Mom. And life happened. I dabbled in 4, never got to play it, and then I went straight to Rollmaster. Eh, Rollmaster stuff, not this version, but Rollmaster Standard System.
Okay.
And that was my first foray back into role-playing games. And then we did Hero System after that. And then I picked up 5th edition. We did it for a little bit, and I was like, okay. And then I
So
found
you went
Index
from a
Card
system where
RPG.
like you routinely lose limbs to 5th edition.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to screw up your expectations. That's okay. So,
yeah.
okay.
And then I found Index Card RPG, and then I found Hank and watched all his videos and stuff, and I thought that this guy sings to my soul.
Okay. I love everything about that. For both, and
Uh,
I think I remember you that you had kind of got jumped back in with Rollmaster. We had Better with Bacon in chat along with BGD. So hello, folks. So you guys are in this hobby. It's let's just be straight. This is a very strange hobby, which is what makes it wonderful. So it's not. I mean, that's not a bad thing. But what are like one or two things that you can, and you can answer as you want, but what are one or two things that keep you in this hobby? Like what drives you in? Like for me, I got back into the pandemic. So like pandemic's over, but now it's my midlife crisis. So what keeps you in this hobby?
you want to go, Scott?
Sure. Yeah. I would say there's two things predominantly on that. The first is, I'm a man of a certain age. Science indicates that men of my age, without friends, have a long and sad life ahead of them. So it's important to me to fight against that. Like I want to have friends. I want to have social connection and social bonding with people, and this is a great way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's an easy, fun way to do it. The other thing is, I think as with many people, I grew up reading sci-fi, fantasy, and all of these extravagant, wonderful worlds created by
Yeah.
other people. And I've always wanted to see what if, right? What if we took that and took to the next step? What if
Mm-hmm.
that guy or that girl didn't win the fight, or they won and they got corrupted, or whatever it was? Like, how can I put my spin on those tales, those stories,
Mm-hmm.
and just being able to play in those spaces, open ended, and the emergent storytelling, being really creative with a group of like minded people who are also creative, maybe working together, working against each other, all of those things. That interplay it's really empowering, and it's really exciting, and it creates a lot of energy for me.
Awesome. Very nicely done. I can empathize. Phil, how about you, man?
What keeps me coming back? The puzzle, the psychological puzzle, the creative puzzle, the just I don't know, learning puzzle, I guess. Learning everything. Like I've learned about psychology. I've learned
Mm-hmm.
about history. I've learned about narrative structures and what that looks like and how to fit that into a sandbox environment and stuff. And it's just all sorts of crazy.
And
But
you,
I'm with Scott. I like the what if I was in this story, because whenever I read all those stories, I was like, man, what if I was Spartan 117, or what if I was Paul Atreides, or
uh-huh.
you know, stuff like that.
Yep. I used to try to make myself dream that I was in the stories.
Oh,
Like
that
if
was easy.
I'll think of that and I'll dream about it. It'd be great. So, which is great. And for folks, like Phil is on my Discord, and Phil will run down a rabbit hole of something and then like break down a mechanic of a game in a way that like more mere mortals can't do. Which is great because I've learned like, oh, wait a minute, that's why that's set up, and I will never forgive you because you set me on that how the role systems work, and I lost like half a day to just like going,
Yeah.
wait, how does 48 work, and just like press the button. It was what is going.
Sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry. No, I was stuck. I was just like, okay, wait, no. And then it's the puzzle of, okay, I have this. How do I make this want to do it? And it was half a day. Half a day. So
The
thank
other
you.
weird thing is like I don't have the same lizard brain funky thing in the back of my head that says like number go up big. I'm like I want to answer yes or no, and I do the thing that makes me happy.
There you go. No, I don't like number go up big as much, so which is why I'm a roll under guy.
Yeah.
When you guys are playing right now, because you had mentioned ICRPG, but right now, what's your favorite genre of game to play? So not system, genre.
I'm totally a sci-fi guy. For me, it's always been sci-fi. I've never been like I like to watch historical anachronism, the A word,
Anachronism. That.
yeah,
Yes.
like those types of movies and stuff. Like, they're cool to watch. Lord of the Rings is super cool, but like, sci-fi is where it's at for me because you can just take fantasy, make the dungeon walls metal, and all of a sudden you got a starship.
Right. You
Or
have Star
a
Wars.
space.
You're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All is good. So sci-fi. How about you, Scott?
Yeah, I lean towards sci-fi as well. Probably more post-apocalyptic currently. I'm playing EZD6 Wasted World with my friends here at home.
Okay.
Really enjoying that. I enjoy the. It's hard for me to. I get kind of stuck in my own head sometimes about like, why is this monster living in this location? Why is this dungeon here? What's the ecology? How do the people in this village not know this? We have to come save the day.
You're
I get
that
stuck on some
guy.
of the. I am. I get
Okay.
stuck on some of the logistics of the stuff, and it's easier for me to internalize and play with the spaces I can see in far future lands than I can in fantasy lands for some reason. It's not to say I don't have fun in fantasy. I enjoy D&D. I enjoy a good hardcore fantasy and spell casting and
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. But given my druthers, I think my personal escapism leans more towards sci-fi.
I will say that because I had somebody said, I think it was Merrill. He said something about, oh, I need to learn more about. I don't know if he's talking to me, but something about learning more about the like our world mythology and how that influenced a lot of what D&D historical like role playing stuff has always done.
Mm-hmm.
So like I picked up the Brothers Grimm book and I'm reading through that, and then Aesop's Fables and a whole bunch of other stuff too.
That's actually pretty cool. I'm getting to be much more familiar with science fiction gaming. I had always liked post-apocalyptic, And now I'm living in one and I don't like it. DM Blackwall is here. Thank you. So thanks for being on. Nice to have you in chat today. And then when you guys are at a table, want to be running a PC or do you want to be the GM?
Doesn't matter to me. I would rather game than not game. And if the way I can make that happen is to run the game, I'll do it. I'm happy to be a player. It's different, flexing different skills, different muscle memory. So both are good with me.
Yeah, I'd have to say both are good for me. I have more of a proclivity for open play, like open sandbox style play, or like combat as war more than combat as sport.
Okay.
Just because I like the ability to. I guess I'm a tactician, is what I've read. Where like I like to.
I will affirm that for you, Phil. You're a tactician. So
how can we bait the dragon out of its lair and then set up all the kobold things that we just took from them and weaken it as it gets towards us, and we just stick with the spear once.
Mm-hmm. That actually is a very good way to deal with the dragon, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, I mean, I've always had an interest in war games, being BattleTech. And in the military, I made my own board game of sorts. I called it Breach and Clear, but it was more like the computer game Door Kickers, just on paper.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be like, how can you breach the room, get into the room, line of sights, and all this other stuff. And, yeah.
So keeps your mind occupied, which is always good. It's really interesting for me. I have not, and I guess it's partly just because of who I have on. I haven't had anybody say player. I've had everybody either say I'm always a GM or I don't care. I'd rather game than not game. And I guess it makes sense for who comes on the channel. But it's interesting that it's like those have always been the two answers to that question. Then over the last year, go ahead, Scott.
That's an interesting point. I was talking to a buddy of mine recently about, the volume of podcasts and YouTube streams and game advice and information. And so much of it leans towards GMs.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the player only? I'm sure it exists, but where is the player only podcast? Like how to be the world's best player, how to be a kick-ass player. Yeah, I've got that. I haven't read it yet, but I've got it.
This is a great book for being like learning to be a good player. And
but
also,
that's not a podcast, Phil. Where's the podcast, man?
I'll read it to you.
Okay, great. Okay. Set it up, man.
All right. Yeah, give me your RSS feed. I'll listen to it.
Players outnumber us like 10-1. So I guess if you started that podcast, you'd like be an instant YouTube star.
I'll make it a series in my Words Without Number podcast that I'm working on.
Are you doing a Words Without Number podcast?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Making a script is a lot harder than just me rambling at the microphone, but then the amount of editing afterwards to make it coherent makes it prohibitive.
Gotcha. All right. So I'm putting up a preview, although it went behind the crit thing. Give me a second here. There it goes. Phil's running a 5-day, 5-session BattleTech mini campaign during crit called Saving Sovereignty, Not to Be Missed. We'll talk about that in a second. So there we go. And I do have a question from DM Blackwall before we get into the next section of our thing. Actually, I do have one more question in this section. Are you going to be, either of you going to be at any physical conventions in the upcoming year?
Not for crit. Seeing that I have a 2-year-old, it's kind of hard to peel away and justify that soon. But there is a convention in Independence, Missouri, by Kansas City called Midwest Game Fest, and they do an online session during I think it's the spring, and then they do an in-person during the fall.
Okay, awesome. There's a couple cons that run those like spring fall flips. I don't know how they do it. I do a 150 or 100 person convention once and I'm wiped out. All right. So over the last year, what are some of the coolest games that you guys have gotten to play?
You want to go first, Scott?
Coolest
You're down here for me.
I've gotten to play. Game or system?
It could flip. Because it could
Yeah.
be a game.
So
It's like what? Yeah. What system
sure.
type? Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that the most memorable game in the last, a little over the last year, I went to Green Dragon Fest last year, greendragonfest.com, which is
You went to
uh
Green Dragon
I
Fest.
did. I'm going
I
again. I
We're
splurged and I'm taking myself.
we're not worthy. It's
Yeah,
okay.
well, it was so that was a fascinating event because it's 100 odd people who are there just to game for 3 days. Everybody's all in. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have it's not like a pickup game at an Origins or a Gen Con where you
Right.
never know who you're going to play with. And certainly I'm well aware of the privilege available and the cost prohibitive
Mm-hmm.
involved with all that. I know all of that. But that had one of the best games I've ever played with Jason Alexandrian. It was just emotional. It hit all the notes. It was clever. It was interesting, and I still talk about it to this day. A
Neat.
year on with people I've never met. It was bonkers. It was just vanilla D&D, but it was a great story. It was a great emotional hook at the end. The players were phenomenal, just absolutely superb. Everybody, I felt very outclassed. Everybody was a better player than me. I was the weak link in the chain, but it was great.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool. To have an experience like that is amazing. So,
it really was.
how about you, Phil?
well, this year, being that it's only last year at the end in December, we had started my table that sits right here. We made our own setting called Luxumbra,
Okay.
and we're playing in Shadow the Weird Wizard with it and stuff, and getting to synthesize all the things that I've learned together and make it
Awesome.
work.
So you're having fun with that. I like that you made your own map and framed it.
Yeah,
Did you
it's
hand draw it, or what did you do it in?
so what we did is we got this neoprene, one of these giant chess X maps out,
Okay.
and I gave them all markers, and I said, "Go nuts!" And all my players just drew on it. I had one guy who just drew a line from one side to the other. That's how we got that coast right here. Uh,
That's awesome.
so we just drew a whole bunch of stuff, and I said, "Okay, here's 6 tokens. Put these down wherever you want, and we're gonna name them, and then we're gonna call these cities, capitals." And so they helped me draw the map, Dungeon World style,
Okay.
and then so then I take that and I break down like a hex or whatever. We're doing a sailing adventure, so we're gonna be down in the islands here.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I feel inferior. It's fine.
I'm using a lot of Worlds Without Number, wherever that's at.
I
Worlds Without Number. Oop, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I have used doing a whole series of just live streams of me working through the world building tools of Worlds Without Number
Yep.
because
I'm,
it's
I'm
just
using
so
Worlds
good.
Without Number, the Perilous Wilds, and Mythic Game Master Emulator to help fill in all the extra bits and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Are you writing the lore, or are you having them write it with you?
So we did lore building at the beginning, like the backdrop building in Worlds Without Number, and then I added in some extra questions from Proactive Role Playing, the book,
Okay.
and some other stuff that I had thought of. And then as we were talking and thinking, they added extra stuff in and stuff, and I just wrote down as much as I could. I had my little record. Sorry,
That's okay.
getting me. I had a little recorder next to me, so I recorded like all their voice and stuff, and I replayed it, and we wrote down everything, and I came up with like 10 world truths. And every time I roll up a city, I put out like a gazetteer that they can read in Discord and
Oh,
go
cool.
back through it.
If you are looking for a system to do your like ruined cities, remind me to show you my little one short video I did on when the walls fall. I saw it at PAX Unplugged, and you build a dice tower, and there's like 6 or 7 steps, and you're building the dice tower up. And if it falls, then you don't get to like the last 6 steps. But where the dice fall in a hex grid on it show you like what the what the founding of the city was, why it fell, how it was structured, and what remains. It's really cool. I saw it at PAX Unplugged. It was so cool. So neat video.
Yeah,
So
I got into the die drop stuff with Shadow Dark, and then the Warden's Guide and Karen 2E has it.
uh-huh.
which is free and stuff. But that's got really good stuff in there.
That's awesome. Stuff like that is so cool. I like building. I like story, so I like building the backstory and then having like 5% of it actually touch what the players do. But I know why everybody's pissed off at them. So let's switch. So people that you're gamers, people you have been vetted. You're within the threshold better than I am. You've been to Green Dragon Fest and you built your own map with your players, so it's great. But you're not just players because you are convention creators. Essentially, you're two of the folks that are behind this thing called Crit. Now, this is the first year of Crit, but it is not the first year of your online convention. So what year is this for your online convention?
This will be year number 3. First year was kind of a pickup thing. Like there was a lot of people who are like, why don't we just play a game right now? I'm like, because I have work.
Yeah, it's one of those
midnight.
things. Yeah,
I can't just stop. So we like Merlitron threw something out where he was like, oh yeah, there's a game jam going on for Shadowdark. Why don't we do something like that? And I was like, I don't know what that is. Let's play games. And then Scott got excited. Chris got excited. A bunch of other people got excited, and then we all just kind of picked a week, made some games, and everybody shouldered the plow for that one for sure, and made it happen. And the next year, same group again, shouldered the plow, and we got more people on. And this year, you're running games, right, Scott?
No, not this year.
Okay. But Scott's doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes work, which is helping us not have to worry about it, and so we're able to be elevated and do a lot more other things with it.
Awesome. So, it was just literally that kismet of like, there's a game jam. That sounds cool. Let's try that, and that's all that. That's how it got started.
Yep.
That's just awesome. Yep. What was really cool for me as an outsider coming in is, the same year that you guys started in your previous iteration was the same year that CypherCon got started, which is probably like the same idea of just looking at it as like, well, they're just doing a game. We can do that. That's fine. And they went off. Also, that first year that you ran was the only time I had been a player at an index card RPG game.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Yeah. And I thought I was being smart, and I broke the guy's staff, and that was the only way you could stop him from stealing all the children. I was like, oops. And that's how we ended. We failed. It was great. So you've transitioned to a new name this year. What was the previous name of the convention?
Go ahead,
we used Rune Jammer.
Okay.
It was all originally spiked around the Rune Hammer line of games.
Okay.
So Index Card RPG, Easy D6, Viking Death Squad, Crown and Skull when it came out. So it was a play on the Spell Jammer from D&D. It was a play on Rune Hammer. It was a play on the game Jam. It was a pretty clever little pun we came up with. It was a lot of fun.
It's very nice.
This year, and this year we're expanding beyond the reach of explicitly Rune Hammer focus. And so we've got some Shadowdark. We've got I think there's
Grit. That's the big one that a lot of people talk about.
Yeah, Grit, Shadowdark, and then a handful of other systems and games. The Lonely Year, I think, or the Long Year. I forget what it is.
Okay.
A handful of other things. So with that, it didn't make sense to keep the Rune Jammer name.
Gotcha.
We wanted to have a broader name to more accurately represent we're encompassing more games. And we really wanted to lean in on the community. Without community, games aren't really much of anything. So the Community Run Infinite Tabletop is what CRIT stands for. And the intent really is just, let's really build the community we want to see. Right. There's lots of pockets of people playing really great games all over the place. We certainly don't want to steal away anybody from an existing Discord or an existing community. But maybe people are curious about games that they haven't played before. Certainly D&D's got the 800-pound gorilla, and they've got all the market share and all this stuff. But there's so much other great stuff going on. People are telling great stories and creating really memorable, emotional games in lots of different systems. So let's let's make it really easy for people to find and try those. And
Mm-hmm.
we just talked about conventions. Sometimes conventions are cost prohibitive. Sometimes it's hard to get off time from work. Sometimes it's hard to travel to the one you want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So let's try to remove as many of the barriers as we can to let as many people play and run, frankly, as run all of these games,
Mm-hmm.
to really open up the field for our hobby. Is it perfect? No. Online games have no shortage of shortcomings and pains in the ass. Like we know that. But hey, I'd rather play online than not play at all. So hopefully, folks will recognize that same feeling in themselves and give us a little grace and say like, yeah, maybe I don't want to play online ideally, but I really want to play Shadow Dark,
I'd
and none
love
of
to
my friends
test
want to
this game
play.
out. Yeah, that would
That's
actually be
right.
great. So,
Yeah, the cost is $0 to play, so it's your time, and if you don't like it, we'll give you a full refund. So
And with it being 24, like we have GMs in not only America, in Europe, but some in Asia, Japan specifically, and so that way we can cover the whole gambit of however many hours in a day there are.
mm-hmm,
24
mm-hmm.
people tell me. So, we can cover a lot of time and make sure we have a game for anybody who's interested.
And
I
you,
may take the a couple days off and try and do morning games because the first year I did that, I had a lot of Europeans that joined and they loved it.
okay,
I think they loved it. At least that's what they told me.
very nice. Um,
I don't think they were upset.
they weren't lying to you, right? BGD pointed out that we actually hope people will come experience Crit as players in 2025, go back to their own online hobby communities, and replicate your virtual con model, which would be fine. Be nice to have one of those like a quarter to do. It would be really kind of cool. Um, so speaking of the Crit, is when is it happening this year?
Well, let me look at my calendar because I don't remember exactly.
you didn't come prepared, Phil.
Not always.
I love it
June
when
twenty
people ask.
first.
Yeah, I love it when people ask me questions about like the convention I'm running. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how much it costs. Just go to the website. So yeah, June. I'm looking. I'm cheating because I actually have your HD thing in the corner up here. So
Yeah.
June 28th, 21st through 28th, online. How much does it cost? Absolutely nothing. So
Multiply it by 0 and you still got 0. Maybe the world's going inside. I don't know.
divide it by
Not,
zero and you can make it anything you want. It's great. So
it's not. We're providing it free of cost. There is a back end infrastructure support cost because Skippy has put up a ton of money for this to host like the DNS name, the routing, and uh, the tabletop events, the site that we're going through now, like get the ticket space for it, and talking salespeople because man, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, there's the first year we did it all through Discord, and we used a Discord bot to do scheduling and waitlisting, and it was okay. But if you weren't living and breathing Discord all the time, it was a little frustrating, and there were some hiccups. The second year we used Sked.com to
okay.
handle our scheduling, and that worked okay. But between last year and this year, they changed their pricing model and they priced us out of anything useful. And we tried to negotiate with them. They said, "Yeah, as long as you don't go over, if for up to this number of users, we'll give you the same price we gave you last year. But if you go one user over, it's going to go to retail pricing at like $800." Like, no, we're not going to take that risk.
So we're not charging anybody. So
Yeah, exactly. So there's a real unmet need in this space for low cost, low friction event scheduling. It's a pain. It's really
well,
hard to
tabletop
do.
events, is it how much? Because it's free for me as a
Correct.
convention organizer. Is it free for you because you're not charging anything? Or do
It's
they have?
free for us to set up the event, but they
Okay.
want to make money, which I have no objections to.
Yes.
Like they provide a good service. I'm happy to
Yeah.
pay for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
We on the back end, it costs us $1 per player,
Oh, okay.
and we're
So I'm
absorbing that.
I'm getting
We're eating
that.
that.
I'm paying that through my fees when I charge people. So, but that's actually
That's
not
right.
terrible. But it's still there is a cost.
Right.
So
And their product is pretty great in terms of scheduling and setting up a time zone management and
hmm
recognizing They're aware of online only events.
Yeah.
They have a feature for that as opposed to like a specific organizational location. Multiple user management. We've got admins, and lots of people can do this. It's not all just on one person's shoulders. It's actually pretty slick. So I'm happy to pay for their product because I haven't found anything else. We did a pretty good amount of search to figure out what else was out there.
For scheduling, there's just nothing. You would have to do it all manually. And
the first year we used a Google Calendar, which
that was crazy.
Was unfortunately locked into the central time zone.
Right.
And,
I remember that. That was fun.
Time zone math is not fun.
No.
Physical or digital, it's not fun.
And then, are you daylight savings time, or when are you? No, it's not fun at all. And the only thing that drives me nuts about tabletop events is that party interface feels like it's locked in like 2006. But their reports are great. The scheduling is great. Everything, like just outputting it. I mean, for physical events, it creates the badges. It really is a neat system. So I really appreciate that. I've been using them for the last couple of years, which is fun. So I'm glad you guys are on it. And can folk, just because there is an infrastructure cost, is there a place that people can donate to Crit to make this keep going, or are you just eating the cost?
Not right now. I'm happy to do it. Between all of us, we'll square up and figure it out. I mean, if we get 1,000 players and it becomes something non-trivial in terms of dollar investments, we might look into that and figure out what that looks like. We've had some talks internally. We feel pretty strongly we want to keep it free. If we have a voluntary donation bin somewhere, we might do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, use your money, donate $20 to your local food bank. Do something nice in your local community. That's much more important and rewarding in the long run for me than me getting $2 back for your ticket.
See, this makes me happy. I like doing good with my hobby, so that makes me kind of happy. So with Crit going on, how many games are actually being run this year? Because you're going 24/7 through that entire week. And also BGD pointed out that there's early bird game sessions Friday evening on the 20th of June.
That's right.
That folks can get to.
Games.
Does he want to be the first one running? Come on, BGD. Let's go.
I think we're at 110 sessions right now.
110?
I think that's right. Yeah. 33 GMs. I looked earlier today, unless things have changed. We're 33 GMs, 110 sessions. Our request to would-be GMs was give us 3 sessions, commit to 3 games.
I only gave you 1. Sorry.
Some people have definitely. That's fine. Some people stepped up, and it's all volunteer effort.
Yeah.
It's not a command performance. Some people stepped up and did a lot more than 3. Some people did 1 or 2. All that's fine because it gives us a bigger spread of games to play over the time that we're there. And again, we're hopeful that people will try a game they might never have played before. That might not be interested. Like BattleTech's not my jam, but I'm really interested in watching Phil run a BattleTech and see what that looks like. I'm really intensely interested in actually signing up for that.
It's not going to be BattleTech specifically.
No,
it's
I know.
It's going to be BattleTech flavored ICRPG.
Right, I know, but it's like the game, the genre of BattleTech, that just doesn't light my fire. But knowing you and knowing how you run games, like
it'll
that
be fun.
Becomes much more interesting.
Yeah. BGD pointed out over 100 games hosted by our amazing roster of 33 talented GMs. He's got this script written, including Easy D6 creator DM Scotty McFarland, who I need to find if I can fit one of his slots.
We also have Wes Allen out here. He's pretty good.
Yeah, not compared to you guys. No, I'm running 1 session. I'm running Sentinel Comics RPG. So if you like superheroes, that is my thing. I'm running it on, I think, Wednesday at 8:30, like the Wednesday of this thing. And that's one of my, if you like comic book adventure, Sentinel Comics is the best superhero game that I've seen that creates that feel. It's really, really cool. So I'm kind of excited about that. Stop talking about me. So do you have any idea, because you talked about getting some of the other systems in. Do you guys have any idea the rundown of how many systems are actually being run, like distinct game systems that are being run during the event. I'm sure BGD is probably sitting on tabletop events like,
Shadow Dark, ICRPG, Shadow Dark, Viking Death Squad, Crown and Skull, The Quiet Year.
We do have
Uh,
some. We have an Electric Bastion land, so that
oh, is it really? Okay.
Electric Passionlands, Grit. I think we've got. I want to say we've got someone playing Cairn. Is there a Cairn game?
I don't remember.
I can go look it up, but yeah, it's
That may
you
have
can
been
filter.
gamers doing
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, if you go to gameatcrit.com and then click on registration, you'll go to the actual tabletop.events URL, which is long and gnarly. From there, you can actually look at the schedule and you can filter by game system.
Uh-huh.
So if you really want to play a specific game, you can filter by Shadow Dark or Crown and Skull.
Yep.
And then other, and then you can see all the other games we have in there.
Yeah, I know Dave Ward from Grimwood Games is running his two systems, Ironbound and Plaguebound, which is those are really cool games if you guys have a chance to check those out. Plaguebound is freaky cool. Like I really, it's like dark fantasy with a sentient plague coming to eat you. It's wonderful. I have a really strange concept of wonderful. But please go check it out. And we are PGD's good. We're super excited to have Wes running his superhero session number 179 on Wednesday, 6/25. Thanks, PGD. Sign up so I'm not lonely.
He's really an AI.
I get the feeling sometimes that he is. He just has the script order. Like, here we go. He's just, or he does PR for a living and he's holding out on us. So we love you, BGD. Registration open today. Are folks signing up so far?
Yeah.
Very good. What was your hope? Like in your dream of dreams, how many registrants would you have had on day one?
All of them, like just a wave, but I think we had some hiccups in the morning, but they got smoothed out and people started signing up, and I don't think it's stopped since. So
yeah, it did look like it was particularly like the first events were starting to fill up really quick. So BGD points out also have system creator Spencer Rachley running superhero system We Can Be Heroes, which I need to put on my Supervember next year apparently. So yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun, and please go sign up. And again, why isn't BGD on here? If he's like the man in the chair. So far we have 25% seat capacity filled in just one day. That's really good.
Join link. You can join up and be right here on my screen.
There you go. I don't have a 4-person thing. I'd have to like create like a scene really quick. So why is it like, seriously, why are you on here, Chris? All right. So, and then how? So this is a question. It's an online event. People are registering through tabletop events. But then you have I'm not a techie. I don't know how to get a hold of this stuff. I don't know if I have the right equipment. How are people being connected into these games? Because that's probably the last real hurdle for folks to want to kind of jump in. So how are they being connected, and how are you going to make it easy for them?
You want to go, Scott, or you want
me? Yeah, ideally, everyone will go in through Discord. We can create a thread or a forum or a channel for folks in Discord. We're still actually figuring that out. They all have pros and cons.
Okay.
We're trying to figure that out. The great thing about tabletop events is that the event hosts, the game session hosts, can message the players who have signed up to their events.
Mm-hmm.
So worst case scenario, we can fall back to the good old fashioned email and say, this is how we're going to do things. We had some trouble with that last year. People didn't use real email addresses in their SCED registrations or didn't pay attention to it. So there were some last minute changes that we had a hard time communicating and announcing to folks like, oh, this person had to drop out. Their sessions are gone. Sorry.
We emailed you 3 weeks ago. Right. Uh-huh.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. So ideally people will go through Discord, and they will probably have to join Discord for voice and audio.
Okay.
That's why most of the sessions are. That's the preferred format. But if a GM really, really wants to use, I don't know, Google Meet or a Zoom call or something else, like that's up to them. We don't want to be prescriptive about that.
Okay.
So it's up to the GMs. The default's going to be Discord. We'll get a channel for you. Join the voice chat. And
gotcha.
Then use whichever virtual tabletop is the GM's preference, whether it's Roll20 or Owlbear Rodeo or ICBTT or just a whiteboard like some guy I know is using.
Yeah, I don't know anybody doing that at all.
Yeah, yeah.
So BGD's putting. I try not to show my face because I'm irascible. We want people to show up for crit. Phil and Scott are the handsome, charismatic ones. Give me your hand.
You should see BGD in a suit. That guy looks pretty sharp.
I don't. I want to see a picture now. Give me your charismatic. I'm the face of the con smiles. The BGD, we need to get you on camera, man. Okay, so
I think Phil, he just said that we have a face for radio.
Yeah.
Listen, I have
for podcasting. That's what I heard.
I have a face for radio and a voice for television. I don't know what's going on. So when people get in, so as people are signing up, are you sending out invites to the crit Discord, or what Discord are they going to be invited to?
That's a really good question. Also, a lot of the stuff we're kind of developing on the fly as a community run event and realizing what's happening. We have a Discord server that is the Index Card RPG community server.
Okay.
Coordinated and started by our friend in Germany, Glock. It was great for RuneJammer. It made perfect sense to use the Index Card community server for the RuneJammer event. We've talked about rebranding that to a crit. I don't know. I don't think it matters ultimately what the server is called, as long as there's a link somewhere people can click.
Yeah. My only confusion is for folks who are newer, not familiar with Discord. They might be like, "Why am I here? I don't understand."
Yeah.
So, but BGD point out ICRPG community service linked directly from our crit website, which does make sense.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, send out when people register, putting that in your auto response is here, this is where we're doing comms. Go join this now. Would be
what everybody needs on a Discord server.
Yeah, more Discords. That's where I spend almost all my social media time now. It's I just go through Discord channels now because everything else is just on fire, which is wonderful.
Discord's getting there too with ads.
Well, it's not even with the ads. It's with all the bots who have been "Hi, nice to meet you." Delete.
Yeah. Today we had some incidents with bots in another Discord, and I had to banhammer a whole bunch of people.
I saw. That was just crazy. And it's just getting bad. Mine is not a public Discord, but I can't even imagine. Now, also, we do have on the overlay, you guys can't see this, but we do have your mascot this year, the Frog Sperato, who is actually, his gun is pointed at Phil's head because I have him sitting there in position between your two things. So what's the story behind him? Who drew him? Does he have a name beside Frog Sperato? And why him or her or them? I don't know. For this event. Where'd it come from?
I think what I remember of it is, this probably isn't the right story, but I remember it being something to do with Crown and Skull and the Frogkin. And it was just super cool, and it was not necessarily male, female, or any gender in particular, so we were able to take that and say, this could be your hero. And in making Trip's his name, that's his name, Trip.
Okay.
TRIPP. And the first iteration was a cybernetic samurai traveling through the multiverse. And I had him show up in almost all my games as somebody that the players could pick up and help or fight against or do whatever.
Okay. BGD again with the factoids popping up in the corner. He was conceived by Andrew, aka I am not even going to try to pronounce that. S5 Photog. Okay.
Or 2716 Gaming.
That's too many numbers and things put together, but yay. So he's a multi-dimensional, hopping, pun intended, cyborg hero. Nice. Which just pretty much sums up crit absolutely perfectly, which is great. All right, so, I need to just have, next time we do this, I'm just going to have a heading on the bottom. It's BGD's feed and just have all of his comments come up. So the artist is Sarah Skrutsky. So Sarah did an excellent job. It's a really
Did a great
cool
job.
mascot.
Yeah.
I like just the idea that he has one boot and one like au natural foot. Perfect. So with crit coming up, Scott, you said you're not running games this year. Phillip, you're running some. You're running the BattleTech. Are you running anything else this year?
This year is I'm either gonna do really good or I'm gonna crash and burn. I'm hoping for the former, where it is
Why is
index
it
card
only the
RPG.
two? I know it's online, it's computerized, but you don't have to totally be binary all the time.
I'll take a middling answer, I guess.
Yeah, like you
Oh,
can do
But
mediocre.
it's gonna be a 5-day mini campaign, where each session feeds into the next one, and they all will culminate at the end. And depending on how much stuff the players can like capture, get, defend, or whatever, will inform how much assets they have at the end for when they have to survive the onslaught.
Oh, that's awesome. That's going to be fun. That's actually really I love games that do that. And then also when you have a player drop in, you're like, why do I only have this? Because the last team was terrible. Like, oh great. So a lot of fun.
I've been learning about like the 5-man band, how to make pre-gens and all this other stuff, and yeah.
Awesome. That sounds like fun. Scott, are you playing any games this year?
I got to double check the schedule, travel and summer vacations and all that fun stuff. That's why I didn't commit to running anything. I would love to play. I've actually not had an opportunity to play with most of the people that are GMing.
Oh,
Even
awesome.
the crit organizers, I have not had a chance to play with many of them. So I would absolutely love to sit at a table and wreak havoc.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. I actually had the same problem last year with vacation hitting that week. I'm like, no, I can't play.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I can be part of it this year. Also, do you
Yeah.
have any merch this year for Crit?
Ooh, we were
I
talking
think we
about
won.
shirts and stuff, but we didn't really we didn't hold a gun to Andrew's head and be like, make shirts this year.
I'm sorry, you failed the
Come on,
quiz.
Wes. We're just a bunch
You,
of
you,
nerds trying to play some games. We're not marketing aficionados. We're not industry
well,
titans
the
here. Come
marketing
on now.
aficionados in chat, he goes, and we have T-shirt and sticker merch this year. Link is in the Discord. So you did fail the quiz. That was okay.
Yeah.
So there are crit T-shirts now. BGD, you could have sent me a picture. I could have put that on the stream this year too, which would have been fun. But yeah, so everybody can support, which would be cool. What else do you have to say? Because that's the end of my questions for this chat today. What else do you want people to know about you? About the crit? About the coolness that you hope to comes from it? What are some words of wisdom you had to folks as
So something that stood out to me the first year was our huge emphasis on, I'll call it safety, where we wanted to make people feel comfortable coming together with a bunch of randos and strangers, and then handing your creative soul to someone else and be like, here's all I got, and be okay with it and comfortable with it, and not have someone be like, that's stupid.
uh-huh.
That's not how we jive here. We're like, everybody's been living by the GM's oath and index card RPG, uplifting everybody up and like trying to fade into the distance, like into the background, and let you be cool, and then we're gonna make cool stories.
Mm-hmm. It's a very
Yeah.
welcoming environment.
We try very hard to be, for sure. It's important to us. I think we've all probably had a poor experience somewhere, and we want to make sure that we don't inadvertently facilitate those.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it'll happen, right? People are weird, people are goofy, we can't control everything. But we really want to make sure we establish the reality that like this is a safe space. We're all here to have fun. We're not here to win
Mm-hmm.
the event. It's not a you versus me. We're all telling a fun story. The other thing for me, I think, and this is something that BGD will also probably happily reaffirm, we would love to see more folks do this.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to create a template for smaller indie conventions. Convention doesn't have to be Gen Con. It doesn't have to be Origins. It doesn't have to be 10,000 human beings packed into a convention hall. It could be 50 people. It could be a dozen people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, let's figure out how to create this as a template, as a pattern that other people can replicate. And they can set off and do their own little thing. And that's where I think a lot of the joy and the passion is when it gets really, really, really big. you're going to kind of play to the lowest common denominator. You can't help but to, right? Especially when financials become involved, you're going to play it safe and do what makes you money.
Mm-hmm.
So be weird, be goofy, be zany, do the zany thing that you're really excited about and show your passion. And let's find other people who share that and let's make that happen for you.
Be a very good advice. And I love the idea that you're doing this online and that you want it to be replicated, that you want people to kind of to not steal your thunder, but to run with what you started, which is really cool. And then, I run a small in-person event that I built off of what somebody else was doing. I was like, well, that looks like a really cool idea. Let's run with it. And I know they're really excited about it and that other folks want to do similar stuff, which is really, really amazing to me because that's what grows the hobby.
Yeah, and I was going to say, just like Scott said earlier in the interview, is like the community is what makes the hobby go, not the rule system, not the conglomerates behind it. It's cool people running cool games for people who are interested and helping those who may not be comfortable enough feel cool.
I've never been cool, so I have to balk at that. That's why I'm on YouTube and not on Twitch. But
I tried my hand at Twitch.
Interesting people.
Man,
no, Twitch's interface I look at and I become instantly enraged. It is not designed for someone who is like a Gen Xer who just wants things to be in certain things. Like, just leave these things here. Stop. No, explosion. I'm like, no, go away. So instantly erase. BGD points out, as Skip has said many times, Crit's open and welcoming to all. We strive to reduce barriers to access the fun of the RPG hobby experience. Anyone at all can come and enjoy a great game, which is wonderful. And Phil, you had mentioned the GM oath or the GM pledge. For folks who might not be familiar with it, can you summarize that for us? Or you're just going to pull ICRPG off the shelf and do it? I knew he was going to do it. Oh, he knew.
I got to work on my narrating skills.
I wanted you to drop it on the table and have it automatically flip to the page. Like, that would be next level.
I'll just read the intro part.
Sure, read the intro.
I will let the torrent flow. I will remember everything. I will build a world from the player's actions. I will be an architect. I will be poetic. I will be energetic. I will lift them up and vanish. I will be a beacon of camaraderie, and I will be a terror to behold.
Yes. Just wonderful. My friend Justin has pointed out he's signed up. He's looking forward to it. And he's also one of my channel members. And Justin, if you look on the screen, your little tag has a membership token on it, which is really cool. I didn't know that was going to happen. And he's actually going to play with three of my other players. We're going to play in one of Dave Ward's games, which should be fun. So we're really, really excited about that. And I have another friend who's doing it, and he's like, well, I'm going to take the next day off because I'm staying up late, so I might play some more on Friday. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm really excited about it. I think this is a really cool idea. I'm really glad to help you all promote it. I'm glad to be the vocalization for BGD as his chats come through the chat window.
Voice module.
Yes, I am the non-artificial intelligence text-to-voice module for BGD.
Can you narrate my GPS for me?
No, well, I could, but you might want to like rip your ears off after a while, which would be fine. Really, really cool. So I was going to ask something that just flew right out my window. It is after Holy Week, and I'm on vacation, so my brain is not entirely working. But I'm excited that I've been this coherent because it's all about me. I'm not a narcissist at all. So you guys are doing this. Do you have any other places where you're going to be going to talk about Crit next if they want to kind of hear different angles of the story as you promote?
Not from me. I think Better with Bacon may have done something, or he will be doing something. I don't remember. I was busy that evening that Chris was talking about that.
Okay, cool. Oh, that was my other question. Are you doing any actual play streams this year as part of Crit?
That was something else I wanted to throw into the this required setup where not everybody needs to be on video,
Right.
because not everybody's comfortable being streamed.
Mm-hmm.
I like to record the audio in the tabletop session of mine and post it to YouTube, barring permission.
Right.
But as far as like just spectators or streamers, it's up to the game master and the table or whoever's playing if they're comfortable with that or whatnot.
So you don't have anything scheduled, but if someone wants to do that on their own, they can work it out for that.
This year, I don't think we have as many workshops as we did last year this year, which
Okay.
I'm kind of bummed about. I may do a workshop or just, a thing where I demonstrate something.
Phil, I would sit down and listen to you talk about, like, break down the mathematics of a roll for like half an hour and just be like, because you're just epic.
I don't know if we want all that.
It was, like I said, you could go to that site where you broke down the math and be like, let's talk about 3D6 systems, and like just break that down, and I would, like, my head would explode and I would be happy.
The other fun one is D12 plus D6 and that kind of like plateau curve.
Yeah, see, this is what, do that. You're in charge of the thing. Schedule it up. You're good. You can hit that. You can hit that mediocre. You can do it, man.
Oh man, maybe.
That'd be great.
But I think I'd cover like narrative structures and then like how to use them as like frameworks, plug and play type stuff.
That would be fun.
To help you build an adventure and feel comfortable with it.
How about narrative structure as it relates to emergent play?
Okay, yeah, that'd be fun.
Because we always talk about the two things as like they were these diametrically opposed, but they're not, right? They're not this or that. It's not a computer. It's not binary. It just, you start a whole new theme by going over here because you looked at that dog funny. Why is it always the dog looking at the dog funny? BGD is pointing out he will be on with Better with Bacon on Thursday, the 1st of May. Rating that as European, 1 May. And also BGD I want to point out to you that Better with Bacon did point out that he was playing the game to win. So you might want to talk to him about that. He also did say that he was kidding, but we'll skip that part. Justin,
there are certain styles of play that do have that in theory.
There are some
more BattleTech stuff down here, but
yes.
Yeah.
I always lose those games, so I don't play them. Justin is ready to be on camera because he'll get a haircut, is what he said. So he's fine.
That's the standard. If you want to be a crit GM, you got to go bald. I didn't bick it, but
I got
buzz it.
Can I? I know I would look really awful.
You need a beard or a mustache.
I don't do those either. No.
Just get some like felt and then.
I can do the felt. Can I just like I'll do construction paper and like tape it to myself with Scotch tape.
Get past that scraggly homeless person look first, and then you'll look fine.
No, because then I'll just look like a youth pastor, and I don't want to do that. Be fine.
Hey, I wasn't necessarily a youth pastor, but I did do youth ministry for 10 years.
But you had the full beard now, so you've graduated. I'm 52 years old. I should not look like I'm doing youth ministry. It's just not. It's not right anymore. It's like that ship has sailed a long time ago, which is, it's old. Not to insult youth pastors, but they do have the look. I went to a college that had a major on it. Everybody had a goatee. It was like mandatory costume. It was really strange.
Like the leather jacket elbows.
No, I was in the 90s. I'm way pre that. We were still like rocking jean jackets. So, yeah. Anyway, now we've really gone off the rock, and I'm tired. So, folks, listen. Crit. It is happening on June 21st through the 28th. It's going 24/7. Look, I love the pose. Also, you leaned into the gun, which was really cool. Go back and look at it. It's so funny because he's just casually handing the gun at your head. It's going 24/7. There are some early bird games on the 20th that are being run by BGD because apparently he wants to go first. Goes through tabletop events registration. Here is the thing about tabletop events. If you have never tried to register for it, If you just go to try to buy a ticket to an event, you will not be able to do it, because this is the way the game works, or the system works. You buy your badge, that gets you into the convention. And then when you buy your tickets, that gets you a seat at the table. So if you buy a badge to Crit, I wanted to call it Rear Jammer for a second, but if you buy a badge to Crit, that gets you access to being able to sit at all, like virtually sit at all the tables. So get your badge first, and then you may go buy all your tickets, and it should be a lot of fun.
We got it set up so that every badge gets 20 tickets for free, so you don't have to buy. We tried to streamline that setup step for you, so when you get the badge, you immediately get 20 tickets.
Oh, so you just like bing, 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 bing. Okay.
Yeah, then you can just go right to the schedule and say, use my ticket on this one.
I put my badge in, or my tickets anyway, but that's okay. They're all free. It's nice.
That's right. $100 for your contribution.
Only one person that I know of that may have used all of their tickets if they did play this year, but this year they're GMing. So
I think Dave's running like 8 games. I couldn't even what are you doing? I thought you said you were paring down. He's like, no, this is going to be an awesome week. I'm like, all right. So have fun. But yeah, that's going to be an absolute blast. Folks, stick on the channel for a little bit, or stick on the line for a little bit. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. And then I'll come back and say a proper goodbye to you. But you want to say goodbye to everybody who is on the stream? So
thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll hopefully see you at Crit.
Thanks for being on. And Better with Bacon is already bald and bearded, so I'm really out of uniform. I'm just going to live with it. So thank you guys. I'll be right back with you in a second. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody else. So, folks, thank you so much, and thank you for tolerating me being halfway awake. It was a really long week last week, and I'm working on getting done with a cold. Wanted to give you an update on some things that are coming up in the future. Oh, hey, King Eric, the greatest of all. How are you? You got here late, but you can watch it on replay. Things that are coming up for the channel. I just finished today Tales of Argosa. Really, 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 really cool game. It's essentially an update to Low Fantasy Gaming, which is a system that I really enjoyed. And I am essentially at the end of Monty Python's medieval co-curricular reenactment program. Those will be the next 2 reviews that are coming up on the channel. You can see I have on my shelf, I have Neon Lords of the Toxic Waste, Never Going Home, Zombie Brain Eaters Seasons Eatings, which I just had to review for the fun of it, and I want to run this at some point because you're essentially mall Santas who get stuck in the mall during a zombie apocalypse. It's amazing. And then Rust and Redemption for Cypher System sitting back there. Those are some books I want to read. And then below me is Dreams and Machines, which I got for Christmas and have not been able to read yet. So those are things that are all coming up on the channel. Looking forward to it. I think there's some more books that are showing up in Kickstarters pretty soon because I have Land of Eam I got to look at too. It is just going to be amazing. King Eric, the greatest of all, I do not know when Unholy Week is, but that is exactly the question I expect you to ask. So thank you for doing it for the 2 minutes that you're here on stream. Folks, this has been a blast. I am looking forward to being with you for all these things. Looking forward to playing some games with folks at Crit and running maybe for some of you at Crit coming up in June. And this should be an absolute blast. And until we see each other again, folks, happy playing, everyone.